Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 436. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Mark Arstiniak.
What's up?
Matt Seldener.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games, brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. Welcome to Season 10, Episode 1, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. For those of you just joining us, we've had a podcast for 10 years now. Or it will be 10 years later this year. But this is our 10th season of The Free Cheese, and we're changing things up this season. You might notice the episode title is called Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. We're no longer kind of all over the place. We're isolating our focus to a single topic. The reason being that when we all played different things, that was fine, but it's hard to always stay engaged or have something to say about what other people were playing when you really didn't have the context itself. So, building on the back of our ranking of all of our Game of the Years over the last 5 years, this season we are going to be... We've selected 45 games, 15 from the three of us, over the next 45 weeks. We will be playing them every week. We'll talk about one of them, and at the end of the episode, we will rank that particular game. In between the discussion of the main game itself, the ranking at the end of the episode, we're going to have some recurring segments to either complement the game or just talk about something in general. Maybe there's a big news story that happens throughout the week that we want to talk about in a way. There's going to be different ways to talk about that. We're going to have some kind of games we play ourselves on the podcast, starting this week with our trivia dungeon. We have a lot of big, exciting plans for this year and this season of The Free Cheese, and I'm really, really excited about it. We'll get to everything else later, but I think first, before we talk about Billy Hatcher, actually, I wanted to ask you guys, just to open the podcast, what is the last dumb ad that made you think your phone was reading your mind?
I felt like I had one that was like maybe a month or two ago, but I can't think of it exactly.
The one... Okay, yeah. I've got one if you need time to think.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
It was a guy, a bald man, smiling with his head to the side, with a bottle of hand sanitizer up against his ear, and it said, "This one simple trick to stop tinnitus." And I was thinking about it because I feel like I got me the tinnitus, and I occasionally just hear like a slow, subtle ringing in the ear. And yeah, I like in a week I was kind of like, oh, that's probably bad. I'm gonna have problems later on. And then boom, bald guy with hand sanitizer talking about tinnitus. And then I thought, is the phone reading my mind? I hadn't done any, I know what you're thinking. You probably looked it up. No, I don't do that. I don't look up ailments or things I'm concerned about. I look up information about other things.
Yeah, like, this isn't really an ad, but this just happened the other day. Because for, like, one of my old jobs, I had to come back to Facebook. And so sometimes Facebook likes to like suggest groups or pages to follow or like whatever, right? And this one was like it was a support. It was called "I dated a Gemini support group," and I was like, I don't know if it's a meme page or what, but it gave me a good chuckle.
I wonder if that looked at your previous relationship status in Facebook, found that person was in fact a Gemini.
Well, that's the thing. I made a brand new profile, so there's none of that. You know, I never. It must be like another. I never brought it up. I never typed it. I just thought it was funny.
Matt, when's the last time your mind's been read?
It was this morning, and I was scrolling through Twitter to see what it was, and I can't find the ad. It's not How I Met Your Father or whatever the hell that show is. I've been seeing on Twitter every scroll. No, I seriously, it was something literally, like, not even something, you know, you go to websites or whatever and it picks up in cookies or whatever. But dude, no, seriously, me and Victoria literally talked about last night, and then it just popped in my feed, and I can't remember either the ad or what we talked about last night.
Yeah. It's life's little moments.
I can't. I'm sorry. I don't have the answer, but it was literally this morning.
Well, here's the thing that we've learned from this exercise is that it happens to us all. We're not alone. And, you know, on the other end, we still survive, right?
Yeah.
Somehow.
We also can all come together on a single idea this week as we talk about Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. So what we're going to do, this is our first episode of the season, so we'll kind of lay the ground rules here. You know, we'll reiterate them throughout the season as well, but we're going to spend about 20 minutes tops talking about Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, our experience with the game, any talking points we've come up with along the way. After 20 minutes, we'll move to our next segment, and then, yeah, we'll come back later, and well, by default, Billy Hatcher's number one game already, spoiler alert, just because it's the first on our big list. But yeah, so Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. From the back of the box, Billy Hatcher must use the powers of a legendary suit to conquer an evil king who seeks to rule with an everlasting night. Slightly mischievous, yet always cool, only Billy can return the 6 light to the land. There you have it. That's the description of Billy Hatcher. First released September 23rd, 2003 for Nintendo GameCube. It later came to Mac and Windows. Developer was Sonic Team, published by SEGA. I guess first, let's say, why was this game who picked this game? Why was it chosen?
Oh, that would be me. I picked it because it was always a game I saw like in advertisements, especially in Nintendo Power for obvious reasons. And I always had in the back of my mind that I wanted to play it, but never went past that. As it was first released up to now, it was always just oh yeah, that game. I should play that sometime. And then some years go by, see it again. Oh yeah, it's that game. And then just never did. And I was like, I don't know. I've never seen any gameplay of it. Never saw trailers. And I wanted to kind of see what Sonic Team had to offer aside from Sonic and Phantasy Star. And so long time curiosity.
Yeah, so none of us had ever played this game before. Matt, what was your first exposure to Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg?
This the one, not only did I never play, I never really even heard of the game until this came up on a list on Mark's side of the spreadsheet, and I didn't even realize it was Sonic Team until not I booted. I think I watched you booted that one day, and or you may have told me a week before or something. But yeah, it was mentioned to me after I read the title for the first time, so I was playing it, that it was Sonic Team, and I thought, honestly, I thought that was the reason why we chose it. It was an excuse to get me to play a Sonic Team game, but no, I never even heard of it until probably December.
Yeah. No, I'd never heard of it until Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, because there's a stage from Billy Hatcher. Right. And I was just so baffled and what is a Billy Hatcher? And I kind of left it at that. I didn't really understand what it was. I later learned that Billy Hatcher is also a pitcher, previously in the Major League Baseball. But in terms of the game, I also didn't know what to expect going in gameplay-wise. I knew it to be a Sega property simply because of that cameo or whatever appearance in that game. And I'd later learn about more cameo appearances of Billy, but I did not know that it would be kind of Katamari, kind of Monkey Ball-esque in its gameplay. So I guess, Mark, what did you expect before going into this? What was your kind of...
I knew it was going to be some type of over-the-top, wacky Sega charm that they're known for. I knew it was going to be some type of platformer. I was kind of thinking something more like Jak and Daxter.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's kind of a hub world and you kind of go off and there's just these branching paths you can take and whatnot. Um, yeah, something where like there's just more progression along the way in terms of like skills and stuff, and maybe there's only certain parts where like you might have to switch to another character or something. But yeah, something a little more grand.
Did you have similar or different expectations going into this, Matt?
I really had none. I mean, I know Sonic Team has done other stuff, so I didn't necessarily expect to go fast or to do any of that stuff. So I really had none. I came into this, I know I shit on Sonic Team all the time, but I really did come into this with an open mind just to see what the hell it was. I had a feeling it would be not, this is bad, this is saying like I knew what was coming, but like I kind of had a feeling it was going to be this wacky platformer thing because of the year it came out and the console it came out on, but I didn't know like exactly what mechanics or anything like that, or even like the level design, how it's broken down to this. Like I none of that I expected. I just kind of expected wacky platformer. I didn't realize like the eggs were a mechanic in this. That just goes to show how much I knew.
So I guess to that point, yeah, let's define a little bit for those who've never played Billy Hatcher. The game starts off, yes, night is cast over the world or worlds, and Billy, you start off like Billy is just kind of a dude in a hoodie, and then he ends up in some land. He puts on a chicken costume, and all of a sudden he can push eggs around, and that's the main mechanic. Is you're finding eggs, you're rolling them into enemies, defeating the enemies, and gathering fruit. The eggs eat the fruit, they grow larger, and then when they're fully grown, you let go of it, you press R on the GameCube controller, and Mark...
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Yeah, Billy calls out to the egg, sings to it, and it hatches. And then what hatches specifically changes throughout the game itself. So in a lot of there's like standard eggs, and as you hatch them, like now I don't remember what you get. They're like regular like white and blue spotted eggs. It's just nothing, right? What happens when you
get there's a lot. There's like I end up finding after the fact, but like including the golden eggs, and each one had a different like main chicken in it. There's like 72 eggs in this game.
Yeah. So there's there are things that will give Billy maybe like a bomb, or there's spike eggs that make it so that you don't take as much damage or don't take any damage to an egg. Then there's also creatures that you can hatch from within the egg, and this I'd learned later was kind of born out of the chow mechanic. So the idea that you're kind of raising something and having it come with you, but it also served a purpose. So depending on the little buddy you get, they might spit water at flames, or they might take flames and melt ice, or something like that, to help kind of with the puzzle solving. And some of those they end up becoming required later on. But like Matt just mentioned, there's the golden eggs. So the golden eggs happen in every second stage of a main world, or is it first? It's first.
Bosses are second.
Right, second is the boss, sorry. And you need to find the golden egg, you need to grow it, hatch it, and then the chicken elder comes out from that world and tells Billy what he must do to save the day or something in that specific area. But once the chicken elder comes back and they're no longer trapped in the egg, they will, change it from night to day, and then the real fun begins. And each world has to start 5 levels within the world, but as you unlock the secret characters, you can unlock an additional 3 extra levels to kind of go back through and play. In order to get to the final world, you need to have collected 25 courage medals, or medals of courage. Emblems of courage. Jeez, thank you.
25 stars.
Yeah. Did anyone get 25 emblems?
I watched someone get 25
No.
in record time.
Yeah, I got to 19, I think, and I was about to get 20, and I was over it by that point. So to be honest, we can kind of jump into this, I guess, but I generally liked my time with Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. I thought that I liked seeing, again, Sonic Team do something that was not Sonic and something that was really wholly original in a way. Like, you could see where the Sonic Team stuff happened, but you can also see influence from stuff like Mario 64. Like, I don't know, did you guys do the penguin race in World 2 Level 3?
No.
No.
Felt like a reference to Mario 64. And it felt like the further you got in, like by the time we got to World 3 Stage 2, there was I felt a better installation of confidence in the player, and the puzzle solving actually got a little creative at that point. But by the time you get to World 4, which was the snow,
circus? Oh.
Right before it was the snow, I started to lose steam. I was like, okay, when is this thing going to wrap up? And then I got through the circus, and I got through, and it was there, and the odd thing for me, I don't know if you guys had the same sensation, but I would kind of play in a chunk, and I'd get through a part that was maybe or maybe not frustrating or aggravating or even just a few levels, and I'd be like, all right, I got to play something else. I'm done. And I'd maybe play a little bit more. I'd maybe walk away, but inevitably the theme song would pop into my head, or Good Morning would pop into my head, or something like that. By the way, if you've never played this, Billy has full baby voice, just the whole, yeah. But I'd hear one of those and I'd be like, man, I do want to play more of this, Or we were prepping all of the documents for this season and stuff, and as I'm putting this stuff together for this episode, I'd start thinking back, no, I want to, and I'd end up playing more of the game, even though I felt like every time I hit a point where I was writing it off, I was done, I'd come back to it. So I don't know. Yeah, I think overall, I thought the theme song ruled. I had fun with it, but I did not go for 100%, where I kind of felt early on I'm going to get I did get all 5 in the first world, I got all 5 in the second, and then I kind of started to burn out on getting all 5. So by the time I hit World 3, I did maybe the first 3 stages, and then World 4, I did the bare minimum. 5, I did the bare minimum. You know what I mean? I slowly trucked along. So I guess we talked a bit about your expectations going in. Mark, how did your expectations change as we got further into playing the game?
So starting off, I thought it was really cool to it kind of gives you a good feel, gives you some space to play around and figure out the controls and how the platforming works, how the egg mechanic works, what have you. I was like, yes, this is pretty cool. So World 1 is a nice introduction to it all. And then as it went on, what was it? Because it's 5 stages basically per world, but after the second mission in a world, you unlock the next world. So it's you unlock the chicken person, and then mission 2 in the world would be the boss fight, and then the next world unlocks. So I was just doing, all right, I'll just do the 2 per each stage, and then I'll circle back when I need to. And that ended up not being the case, because the more I went on in this game, the more it was harder to progress. It was I was very forgiving at first, but it just has a weird Mario 64-ish attempt to it, where it's all right, you come into this level for this one mission. It might not be the same exact level that you were just in, but it's something similar or what have you. And Sonic Team is known to have some jank, right? Whether it's the camera or the controls or something, it's all mostly there, but then as I kept going, more mistakes just kept happening, and I don't know if it was my impatience or if it was the game or if it was both, but platforming became way more harder than it probably should have been. And then there just wasn't enough. I don't know. It needed some polish, definitely, with the platforming. Just all that in general, just the physics of it. Everything just kept becoming more and more of an obstacle against me. And then what started out as me enjoying everything and how cheesy it was, the more I lost my tolerance, and now all of it just triggers me. And I didn't get past the ice world. That's kind of where I had to had to put a pin in it for my own sake.
The carnival stage got particularly frustrating with some of the getting on a roller coaster track and riding the egg. Like some of those things got really aggravating at that point. So you may have dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Matt, what about you? The further you got into it, were you ready to run from Billy or?
Yeah, once I kind of realized it was like 1-2 next level, I figured let me do that kind of run, and then if I'm into it, I'll go back, because I didn't know at the time, but I had a feeling you're going to be gatekeeped at some point with collecting these emblems. So I did that, but honestly, by the time I hit the sand level, which is the last of the 5 like worlds or lands, that like I didn't even do stage 2 in that, just cause I like ran out of steam. And like I actually think this game is at its core easy. I think like the enemy encounters are easy.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the general like navigating the world, while there's some difficult platforming parts, I think it's generally easy. I think the boss fights are laughably easy at times. Some of them were you know, you had to think a little bit, but like some of them were just real easy. My problem with this, it became difficult because, and I thought about this for a bit while playing it, but like I think the main reason why I was frustrated with this game is because of the camera. The camera, one is inverted, and you can't change the inverted option.
Yeah, no.
And I hate that. That was like frustration number 1, was some of the lack of options there. But then 2, like just like whenever you try to set the camera, it wants to go back to where it wants to be at, which like, you know, like a predefined like camera area in this world that you're supposed to see Billy in. And then on top of that, like I noticed like some of the bosses, like if I locked onto them, while holding the trigger, the lock would go away and I wouldn't see what the boss was necessarily doing, which, you know, if I can't see their moves, I can't see which way to dodge or move or whatever like that. So yeah. I experienced and saw that more and more as the platform did become a little bit harder. And the enemy encounters started to become a little bit harder. Once they got hard enough where like the camera really got in my way, it became frustrating. That's where I fell off on this game. Like I said, I like the mechanics. I think there's something here to rolling an egg and making it part of your navigation, and you know, growing it and using the growth size to take out enemies in specific ways. I think there's something there. It's just the jank, which Mark was talking about. It just became too much for me. It wasn't charming. Yeah. It just was frustrating.
It's one of those things. It's interesting that this was a SEGA game on a Nintendo console. This is obviously the Dreamcast had died at this point, and Sega was they were now third party. But the interesting thing is, I recall a talk between, it was an interview, I forget which magazine or what it was. It may have been at an event, but it was Yuji Naka and Shigeru Miyamoto talking about the two companies' varied approaches to games, and exactly what Mark said, where like this kind of lacks that polish. I think that's the difference between had Nintendo made this game and the fact that Sega did make this game, is they got it and they got it there and then they got it out the door. If this were Nintendo, you wouldn't have had as many. I think like a lot of the like weird movement stuff, the fact that the camera's so like often can mess you up, especially the winter stage when you have to try and get the golden egg through, like that one spot, like getting down to the bottom of the hill and then the two roosters are spinning. Like, boy, I don't think that would have happened in a Mario game, right? And it's not to say that this is better or worse in that regard. I think there's a lot of I like this game. I do like this game, and I think that like it's an interesting evolution of the 3D platformer. I think that it does different. There's ideas here that we probably haven't seen since. Like I think that it is a very unique game. I think the idea of like moving the egg, using the eggs in different ways, hatching them to get different results. The fact that you can collect all the golden coins and that will give you access to other hatchable Sonic and Sega characters is, I think, intriguing. But yeah, I can't agree more about the camera being the most frustrating part of this.
Yeah, like it's I wonder if like at the time, because this was like 2003, like we didn't. There was still a lot of like archaic game features at that point that we just didn't really question much of. So I'm wondering if it would have been a little more tolerable then versus now. But yeah, like I love the originality that this game has. I love its concepts, but I think at the end it just wasn't quite enough. Like, I think my biggest gripe with controlling Billy was like when you're like doing the speed boost and you're rolling, and then you have to like wait to stop rolling to basically get off of it, and like you're just completely vulnerable in that state, no matter like what you do. It always takes like way too long to get off the egg, and then when you're jumping from one platform to another, and you're pushing the egg, and the egg makes it, but you don't. That is just nerve-wracking for me. Those I wish could have taken a little more time, but aside from that, I did like what they were trying to do with it. I could still see that and appreciate all that creativity that they were putting into it. I feel like I had something else, but I think that's it.
Matt, what's the final word on Billy Hatcher and the giant egg?
I think there, you know, you all have kind of echoed this as well. It's just like there's something here. It really is something here, but it's just execution, polish, like it's some of that stuff is fun to see every once in a while, right? Like, or like, you know, it adds to a charm or is expected. I mean, this is a 2003 game. You have to kind of remember that as well, right? So, like, you know, something has to be expected, but it got in the way too much of the actual experience, and I think that shortcoming is greater than the mechanics and the uniqueness it can offer.
Mark, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I love its originality, but I don't know if it's something I could ever fully invest in, just because of you need more than that, you know? Like, it's a balance. The gameplay shouldn't be as punishing as it is for like simple mistakes. So I don't know. It's a weird one.
Yeah. I would like to see like something where they do go back and clean it up, change camera options or something like that. Like a re-release of this would be interesting. I think the character ended up in a lot of games. So I played some more of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, not Transform, but the first racing game. You can play as Billy Hatcher in that game. I also bought a copy of Sonic Riders Zero Gravity for the Nintendo Wii because it also features Billy as an unlockable character, among other Sega characters. However, it's at the very... Yeah. It's not until the very end of the main story mode, of which I've barely gotten into because motion controls, and it's an interesting thing. But, you know, Billy's not gone away necessarily. It's probably been a little bit since he's shown up in anything to date. But I think there's still potential there for Billy Hatcher.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, we would obviously rank this later on, but this is just going to be the first one on our list, so we'll leave it at that. But yeah, anything else you want to call out on Billy Hatcher?
Maybe not specifically Billy Hatcher, but just games in general around that time. If you ever have to restart something, it shouldn't take a life away.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, Sega was a little notorious for that, but
yeah, that was rough. I would end up just quitting back to the main menu
But yeah, to echo you, I would love to see like this be revived in some way with modern day, you know, quality of life improvements and stuff.
Yeah, agreed. I think it'd be something. Well, we're going to move into the trivia dungeon. So, this season, Mark and Matt will journey through the depths of a haunted dungeon. The toughest enemies of the mind are awaiting our adventurers at every turn. But don't forget, the only way out is through. This is going to be a little weird for the listener, but I've built a map. And I've got a version for me that I can see everything. I know every step of the way. Matt and Mark cannot see this, but I am going to share a version of the map with them that is kind of blacked out. So on our map, we have 10 rows across, 6 rows down. So there's 60 potential steps you can take. Each step you take, you will need to answer a trivia question. You cannot move forward until you get that question correct. There's special spaces along the way. There may be items that you find. There may be secrets. There may be monsters. Who's to say? We're going to keep this limited to 10 questions max. So about 10 steps through the dungeon this week, or 15 minutes total, whichever you guys hit first. You're going to have to kind of move as a unit. So you'll have to make these decisions together. Our heroes are starting in A4. And you should be able to see, from A4, you can move yourselves right to B4 or down to A5. Is there a cell you have in mind?
I don't know.
I'm thinking A5.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go south.
A5. So we're going down to A5. Alrighty. You've taken the step. You've made it. From here, you can take your next step, but you will have to answer a question or complete a question to move forward. Would you like to go? The only way forward is down or back up.
I say we keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, we started this path. You got to see what the item at the end of or the collectible is at the end of this.
All right. So in order to move down, the question is: the PlayStation Vita was introduced to the world by what code name?
I don't know.
Because Vita sounds like a code name in itself, but it definitely has something else, and I can't remember it.
I know you've said it before, too. I know you have, and I've heard it, and I don't remember it.
NGP?
NGP is correct.
Yes.
Next Generation Portable.
Oh, that's simple.
Is that Chaos Emerald?
So our heroes have landed on A6. A neat gem you found. It might be useful later. I'll let you guys carry that with you. But you have hit a dead end. So from here, the only way to move is backwards. Now, if you're returning through a space you've already been, no need to answer another question. But when you take a step into a new cell, you will have to answer a new question. So,
okay. So we just go back to A4 then?
Go back north.
So back up to A4, and then at this point, the only way to go is to the right into B5. Is that where we'd like to go?
I mean, I guess we have no choice, right?
Kinda, yeah.
I think I'm just going to chill at A4 for a couple more minutes. Run the clock.
Well, Matt is going to push ahead, assuming you can answer this question. Number 2, what do these studios have in common? Beanox Incorporated, High Moon Studios, Raven Software, Toys for Bob Incorporated.
What do they have in common? Ooh.
Beanox, High Moon, Raven, Toys for Bob.
I think all but Toys for Bob has worked on a Call of Duty in some regard. So I don't think it's the obvious answer. Unless they've been recently folded in.
But it could be. I would say go with your gut with that one.
What, studios one more time? I'm sorry.
It is Beanox, High Moon, Raven, Toys for Bob.
2 of those 4 did Crash Bandicoot games, but I don't know who did Crash Bandicoot when it first went to Activision. That's the only other thing.
Final answer?
Call of Duty or Crash, but they both might be wrong. Because I can't...
I say we go with Call of Duty.
Our heroes have successfully made another step. All 4 of these studios used to make unique video games, but now work on Call of Duty.
Toys for Bob was the latest one to be pulled back, right?
Yeah, they just fell in. Yep.
Yeah, see, that one I didn't know. I knew about Raven.
Yep.
Yeah, Raven's been in it. Beanox has become like the lead on Warzone, I think, or they helped develop Vanguard single player. They got it like last year, and then I forgot that like High Noon. I've seen that logo on a Call of Duty game before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
High Moon used to make the Transformers games.
Oh.
Beanox made the good Spider-Man games. Raven made some good shooter stuff. That Wolfenstein. Mm-hmm. Toys for Bob famously made The Unholy War. Right. Yeah, that too. You kind of can only go into C4 at this point. So if we're ready to take that step, which video game helped to create the concept of a street date for product releases?
Whoa.
While they think, listeners, I did warn both of them. I think I made these too hard, but we'll...
A street date?
Street date.
What? So what video game made the concept of a street date, pretty much?
Yes. So for listeners, anyone unfamiliar with the idea of a street date, the street date is the date in which a retailer is allowed to begin sale of a product. And there was a product a long time ago. You know what? I'll give you this. 30 years ago this year, okay? There was a product that came out simultaneously at all retailers. Because prior to this, it was kind of like video game manufacturers or video manufacturers, any media that was consumable would just kind of be sent out when it was sent out. There was no specific date here in America.
Is it Pokemon?
It's a little bit before Pokemon.
Okay. Oh, right.
I don't even know. I mean, we're at SNES territory, right?
We are in that era, correct?
And then also, I guess, Genesis as well.
Okay.
My gut reaction is A Link to the Past.
A little bit later than A Link to the Past.
What?
Can I ask if it, have we said the console, or...
You have said the console, Matt.
Okay, so... SNES, Genesis, one of the two.
I can go a little bit further, because I know these are tough, so I don't mind giving some hints to help you guys through the dungeon here. It was a console exclusive.
Okay. I don't know what year Mario World came out. Or Sonic. I would think like one of the mainstays.
I think Mario was before Zelda?
Mario was before Zelda, and Mario launched with the console.
Yeah. Because I remember getting that and Mario Paint together.
So this was a game. I'll say it was a game. It was a sequel. And it was a console exclusive.
Super Metroid?
Not Super Metroid.
Not Super Mario World 2, is it?
Oh, is it...
Before that?
Okay.
Is it Final Fantasy?
It's not Final Fantasy.
Sequel, console exclusive, 92. I don't know why it even came out in 92. I did, in a way.
Yeah, it's if it's a sequel, I'm thinking I'm thinking like a Nintendo IP. But there's not too.
Not Sonic. There's not some. Sonic 2?
It is Sonic 2. Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Wow, I was way off. Okay.
I didn't want to let you guys squirm for too long. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, according to Tom Kalinske, who was behind the Sonic Tuesday promotion, where they were able to get Sonic the Hedgehog 2 out in retailers in America. And I believe they did a push around the world, but yes.
Sonic the Hedgehog Tuesday.
2. Sonic Tuesday.
Yeah, they would.
All right. So our heroes have made it to C4. Yet again, you're kind of trapped. The only way forward is to D4. If you're going to make it to D4, I would like to know, before his time working with PlayStation to help create the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5, Mark Cerny helped to found this team in 1991.
Hmm. 91. Was he working? I don't even know. Like I didn't know if he was like doing exclusive games for either Nintendo or Sega, but
Okay, I'll give you this hint right now. This is easier than you think. And if you don't get the exact name of the team, I'll still give you the point, because the team he helped form would later turn into something else. The thing they would turn into is probably what
Naughty
you're more
Dog?
familiar. Before his time at, and I know Naughty Dog wasn't fully, but yeah, before PlayStation stuff, he did help out with Naughty Dog. Specifically, he helped out with Universal Game or Media, which was the publisher behind Naughty Dog. Before that, he worked for a Japanese company to help create this team.
I have no idea.
I don't know why Hudson Soft came to my brain.
Go
Hudson
for it.
Soft should always be on the brain,
Yeah.
but it's not Hudson Soft.
Or Sunsoft? I think I'm getting them mixed up.
So, Mark, you already said the major company that this was under.
Square?
I don't remember what
Not
you said.
Square.
Sega?
Okay.
Oh,
He
not Team Sonic. Is that it?
Kind of.
was Sonic Team that long ago?
Kind of. So, I'm gonna give you guys the point and let you move forward into D4. Mark Cerny helped to create Sega Technical Institute in 1991. The roots of Sega Technical Institute were, remember, there was a big, and it never stopped until Dreamcast died. There was a big conflict between Sega of Japan and Sega of America, and there was a power struggle there. So, in the development of Sonic 2 and Sonic CD, Mark Cerny he created Sega Technical Institute in America with Japanese developers to kind of be like a bridge between the both. But they were really the best in class, and they were the ones that pushed some of the internal Sega stuff forward. And then while Sega Technical Institute would close, the roots of that became Sonic team.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would have never got that.
Nope. I mean, of course. Yeah, duh. Sega Technical Institute.
STI.
Yeah.
All right.
Right on the tip of my tongue.
So we're coming up. We only got about 2 minutes left. Let's see if we can get through one more question before we wrap it up here for our adventurers this week.
Still only going, I guess.
Yes, so still can only kind of go forward into E4.
Glad we got that gem.
Yeah, the gem maybe. Alrighty. Moving into E4, the Nintendo 64 expansion pack consisted of how many megabytes of RAM?
Ooh. Can I ask if this was a 3-digit or 2-digit number?
You can ask that, and I will tell you that it is neither.
Oh my god.
I don't think computers are cranking out. I don't think we have RAM like that. Is it 8?
5.
Not 8. Not 5. You're closer with 5.
4. 64.
It was 4. This is
you know
tough
what?
because I don't want to the fun of this is like having you guys think and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to really set you back for. We'll see.
I was thinking like kilobytes. That's.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why you said megabytes, but I was thinking. Duh. I should have thought megabytes.
So we do have an area you can step forward. This red door has appeared. You can pass through the door, but there might be something of caution. Would you like to take the step forward this week?
I would say a door is a good stopping point, if anything.
You want to stop at the door? Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, we can take a knee.
All right. So, brush up on your trivia. Our adventure through the dungeon will continue in a future episode as we continue to check in with Trivia Dungeon throughout the season. Now we're going to move into a brand new segment called A Proper Sequel. So, Matt, you want to set this one up?
Yeah, sure. So in some cases, like we just said with Billy Hatcher, we wonder if if Sega will ever revisit Billy Hatcher in some weird way. But in case they don't, I think we could help them with pitching an idea. So I have in front of me a video game name generator. We are going to go through 5 different names for what a new Billy Hatcher could be. So it would be Billy Hatcher and the fill in the blank. And then amongst the 3 of us, we'll take probably the best name of the 5 and create a proper sequel with mechanics and well, maybe not themes, but like settings and all that fun jazz that goes into a video game. So are we ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready.
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm excited to hear what the...
Did we need to jot these down? I didn't think about that. For reference?
I could...
Because I don't have a good way of going back. Okay. All right. So first, we're going to have Billy Hatcher and the Retro Flatulence Explosion.
Retro Flatulence Explosion?
Yeah. All right. Number 2, we have Billy Hatcher and the World of Platypus Baseball.
Okay.
Our third option is going to be Billy Hatcher and the Quiet Vegetarian Smuggler. I think that one's got potential.
Okay.
Number 4, we have Billy Hatcher and the Summer Arcade Fantasy. And then number 5, we have Billy Hatcher and the Super Sexy Landmine Interactive.
Well, shit.
All right, so they are... I think... Let's see. I think we rule out retro flatulence explosion. That seems like Billy. A sequel
Well, I can't
to
even
Billy
say
Hatcher.
the word, so yeah, let's rule that out.
I'm saying rule it out because that makes more sense if Billy Hatcher was a 90s game. But by the time we hit the 2000s, and now especially as we're in 2022 and we'd have a new one, I don't think that would make much sense, right?
Yeah, that's more fit for a Wario game.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. World of Platypus Baseball.
So there's potential. We just dressed Billy Hatcher in a platypus costume this time, right? And we have him play balls with egg.
This one's my choice.
It kind of also like the fact that there was a Billy Hatcher baseball, like it's just going to confuse that even more. But something about platypuses, they lay eggs.
True.
Right?
And they got a venomous little claw on their back foot.
Exactly. That could be a big bad guy, right? Like, because the giant egg, we never talked about that with Billy Hatcher, but the giant egg, it's,
it came and went.
But there's a big crow, man, that guards the egg, right? So
yeah, this one's striking up some ideas.
There's that. All right, I like this. It's a front runner. How about the quiet vegetarian smuggler?
So I really like the story aspect of this because these are chickens we're dealing with, and some angry vegetarian is stealing chicken eggs so no one can eat them. And then it's almost you could almost make it like a mystery game, like who is the smuggler, how to take him down.
Interesting.
And this almost turns into an Arkham game with some of the detective elements, some gameplay elements. There's a lot there potentially.
Oh wait, are we pitching the sequels now?
No. I'm just saying
okay.
We're picking the title, but that's where my idea was going before we really dive in.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then we've got Summer Arcade Fantasy.
That just sounds like Billy Hatcher's hanging out in an arcade all summer.
This sounds like Billy Hatcher's hosting a gaming event with Jeff Keighley.
Yeah. Which I would much rather see Jeff Keighley talk to Billy Hatcher than one of those Muppets, so maybe that's not a far off idea.
Yeah, but we can't take away the Hideo Kojima time. That's
No. Billy Hatcher is the Muppet.
All right. Now I'm on board for this. And then we've got Super Sexy Landmine Interactive, which I feel like if, I don't know, Billy Hatcher got sold to the wrong company, maybe this makes sense. Like, it's not the first time a video game property has ended up in the hands of a hentai dealer, but
this would be cool. You know how Metal Gear Solid did like a spin-off VR missions where it was like these little quests, like side quests that had nothing to do with Metal Gear per se in the story, but like they were fun levels. Put the little landmine aspect while you're rolling around, make some challenging levels, but not a proper
that.
sequel.
But with the Super Sexy, like we'd have to age Billy up a bit, right? Like he'd have to be like this would need to be a.
You would need 2003. It's been 19 years.
I mean, you would need like a Ninja Theory DMC version of Billy Hatcher.
Yeah, I think if we have that,
he's just flipping everyone off, chucking rotten eggs.
Now I'm just picturing that Dante in the Billy Hatcher chicken suit.
Not in a million years.
So I think that narrows it down to the Quiet Vegetarian Smuggler or World of Platypus Baseball.
I like the baseball.
We can do something fun with baseball.
I'm torn.
The story makes sense, though,
I think you're right. The story makes sense, but I feel like having vegetarian in the title is too inflammatory.
Oh, fair. Okay. Yeah. We got to sell this, not...
Especially if we're making the vegetarian, the vegetarian smuggler our antagonist in this, I think that creates...
bullshit. Dan O'Brien was a heel as a vegetarian, leaning on that in WWE. So if Vince McMahon can pull it off, I say we can pull it off.
Leaning on it. I see what you did there.
Oh, boy.
Lean cuisine.
My vote's leaning more towards platypus baseball. I can see a platypus as a natural... Like, the vegetarian smuggler just seems like the person I'm imagining... It's a person in this case, rather than an animal creature, where in this case, like, with the platypus, I feel like that's a good follow-up to the crow. I feel like platypus are natural enemies to the crow, so this might even be like one of those kind of things where it's like the threat is bigger than ever with this.
Or maybe this is or it could be a good opportunity for the Chick-fil-A cow to tie in, like I know he says about eating chicken and not him, but we could probably twist his words a little bit, become a vegetarian. But no, I think platypus baseball gives us some wild opportunity.
Like I'm thinking like a wild, like take like a Mario baseball game, whatever that was called, but like add the Sega twist to it, and it's just like a crazy over the top baseball game with like Billy Hatcher mechanics somehow thrown into it, like you're pitching an egg and it can get various sizes, or like you can have like assist creatures affect it. Like it's just bonkers.
Well, I was saying, I'm thinking of the swing and miss mechanic, right? Like if you're an egg, you really can't like hold a bat, right? But I think if we take the baseball term lightly and maybe put in some kick ball aspects to it, where dependent on the shape, because the egg's a general shape, but you could have thickness. You could make like, we can get real deep in like arms lore here with arm girth, where like you have shell thickness, size, weight, egg type, and depending on those types, you can combine momentum, physics, and speed to really explode like a ball by rolling into it very fast, and then of course rolling around the bases. And then you can have special. I think the eggs themselves are the main players, but then you have special appearances by your animals and Billy Hatcher. Your Billy Hatcher itself, where it's like a power up of sorts, a la like Slugfest or something like that.
But like, imagine trying to steal a base and Billy's just rolling a giant egg at you to get you out.
So I felt like dropping the entire egg thing entirely, right? I feel like Billy being a hatcher and someone wearing a chicken costume was very isolated to that first game. The chicken theme, the egg theme, all of that. I feel like in this case, Billy could be like in my head, this is a same setup, 8-world game. Each world has its own theme to it, but the world you're traveling to, you have to play a match of baseball. So Billy's got his team of baseball players, and I think it's a baseball game where each of the characters has their own kind of spin to them, right? So, I don't know, Billy's friends, Billy's whatever. I think that you'd still bring in maybe some of the little creatures and stuff that you have, because I do like that aspect of Billy Hatcher, but I almost feel like removing the platforming from this entirely.
Yeah, I did forget about the platypus in my pitch, so that's kind of key.
Yeah, like I can picture Billy wearing like a baseball uniform, but it's like platypus inspired. Mm-hmm. So like the hat would be like obviously the duck bill and platypus bill, and like whatever little eyes wanted, whatever. But for each world, I'm picturing like thematic stadiums.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Pokemon Stadium type.
Yeah. And like all the platypus play baseball with their tails. They don't use bats.
Right. Naturally.
All right. Well then, okay. So do we then incorporate an open world and you travel too? So in a Pokemon game, you go to the gym and there's usually some kind of gimmick in the gym, and then you play baseball with the baseball leader of the stadium. But like in the open world, do you do little challenges to recruit new players to become a bigger and better baseball team of platypi, chickens, crows? It could be the or ravens, whatever they were. Could be the antagonist almost, but it could be a good guy or bad guy. Because if you remember in Final Fantasy X, you could recruit the bad guys as some blitzball players.
No, I like that idea because it makes it so that players will never necessarily, you could build your team however you want, right? So players would have a different experience, both when compared to others, but also even comparing to separate runs. I also think that that starts to get into, which is something we didn't talk a lot about earlier, but we did talk about the fact that we saw a speed run of Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, a speed run of Billy Hatcher and the world of Platypus Baseball, I feel like would have, hey, here's the optimum run. You'd have people that were doing the like, you know, whatever percent run, but there's people who are doing the like get all team run where they're
Right,
like
different categories, right?
Yeah.
But I like the aspect of, you know, just like a Major League Baseball team, like you can build it in different ways. You can hashtag Dong City like the Orioles did like 7 years ago, or you could be a team that's fast on the base paths. So you could be focused on the pitching. Like there's different builds depending. And then, hold on, if we kind of go with this idea, there's DLC. We're in 2022, people. DLC.
No.
Major League Baseball tie-ins where we have Camden Yards and you play literal Orioles.
You're okay. You're not wrong, but you're wrong because yes, but to keep in with the idea of Billy Hatcher, right? Where in Billy Hatcher, in order for you to get some of the special eggs, you had to do things. You had to go to a specific area. You had to collect a certain number of coins. I think in the same regard, in this, you might find an Oriole bird and want to add them to your team, but they say, oh, I don't want to talk to you. You don't have this yet. So there's prerequisite side quests you must complete in this big world in order to get that specific thing. I think that is how you do it. Forget all that DLC. Sega knows how to make good games. I think you do it where...
Did we forget about New Genesis?
Shh.
Okay.
I think that's what you do. You make it so there's prerequisite things the player must complete in order to add certain characters to the... That's what makes the challenge of the speed run, the optimal build, difficult, because this guy will only join your team if this, or this girl will only join your team if you've done this.
And that's the thing that prevents you from cheating in Pokemon with like the new Pokedex and stuff you can bring over your bank or whatever it's called. No, I like this.
Billy Hatcher in the world of Platypus Baseball.
And of
What's
course,
like
you can have
why
Sonic on your
platypus
team.
though? Well, we didn't figure out like why. Like we have all these different animals, but why? Platypus?
I have an idea. Hold up, Mark. What were you gonna say?
I was saying that, and of course, you'd be able to get Sonic on your team.
Yeah,
Oh,
you'd have
who
to.
want him?
Now, how would you get Sonic?
I say he's a late game character, but Super Sonic is your 100% completion.
Yeah, it's definitely
He's got
some type
perfect
of like
stats up and down.
nearly completionist type way of getting them.
Okay. So the platypus, I think in this case, I originally envisioned the platypus as being the enemy, but the fact that we talked about the costume with the platypus bill, something about that is...
Well, I was thinking like, each stadium would have like a team of platypi, but depending on the stadium, you know, they would look and play different.
No.
One picture Billy's costume though.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Hold
that's
on.
so he can fit in.
I think I got an idea here. Space Jam. So, they transplanted from a land and got kicked out because of the crows, because Billy kicked out the crows, so they migrated to that land. Now the platypus have come in, but you've seen that they play this specific game that looks fun, and they've challenged the crows to said game, and that's why you build your team, and then you conquer the crows in World 35, the final world, and that's how the platypi get their world back.
I think you could also... The platypi love baseball, right? It's just their natural affinity towards baseball. That's why we're playing platypus baseball. You're actually helping the platypus people, because after Billy's work with the chickens of the first game, the chickens decided that they need as many eggs as they can. And they started taking eggs from wherever they could, including stealing baby platypus eggs. And now the chickens themselves have become the villain. Billy has created a villain, right? That's an interesting dynamic story.
Yeah.
And now he's working with the platypus to stop the chickens from their, greedy, tyrannical...
Is your typical Billy Hatcher player going to want that kind of twist, that Diablo 2 twist almost, in their game? I feel like it's a family, fun game. I don't think we need this dark twist with the chickens. I think we just stick with our antagonist. Yeah, we all remember the Elder from the Sand World. We don't want him being the bad guy, right? No.
But that's the thing,
the Crow, or whatever the hell that thing is at the end of the game. That is a bad...
We live in an era where all of our heroes are dead and they're monsters, right? So let's get that, pull that
Harvey
part
Dent.
of our... Well, maybe this does not necessarily make sense for World of Platypus, Billy Hatcher in the World of Platypus Baseball, but perhaps it might be something worth exploring on film, per se. So we move into our next segment for the week, called Fantasy Cast. So this one is a new segment we have. We'll come back to this segment throughout Season 10 from time to time where it makes sense. But in a world where new ideas on film can only originate from video games, casting brings these characters to life. So whether animated or live action, we're going to talk about Billy Hatcher. We need to find, if Billy Hatcher were adapted to a film or an animated series, who would end up playing the characters from Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg?
Well, all right. I'm just going to get this out there because I'm probably going to say this every single time. For the animated version, we get Chris Pratt to play Billy Hatcher.
Damn it.
It's joke one of however many times we do this segment, so stay tuned. I don't know. Well, I mean, for real though, which way were we going? Because mine was, I did a live action casting of Billy Hatcher, and this might not be a name you all know, but I think he fits perfectly if you look him up.
Let's hear it.
I forget his name. Hold on, I gotta look.
Well,
Sean GM Brown, I think is how you say his name.
No idea what that is.
If you're unfamiliar with this man, you may know him from a TV show called The Goldbergs, where he plays the youngest of the Goldbergs in said family. If you look up a picture of him, I think he can make a baby voice. And he kind of looks how I envision a live-action Billy Hatcher looking, and I think he would look equally ridiculous in a chicken costume as did Billy Hatcher.
So, similar approach, but Eric Sullivan, who was Dewey on Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah. All right, so we're reaching into any time, because Eric Sullivan is like 30 now.
Yeah,
well, that's what I was
take
doing.
him now. You take him now and give him that outfit.
All right, I'm in.
I was trying to stay within the right age, but of course, I mean, like a 22-year-old can easily play an 11-year-old in Hollywood. Come on, it happens all the fucking time. How old is, I don't even know how old Billy Hatcher is. I assume somewhere between Tails and 22.
Fair, yeah.
But
right.
Oh, what's her name? Crap.
I don't know who else to cast. I just focused on Billy.
Is it Mona Marshall? Is that her name?
I'm not sure about.
I don't know that name.
Voice actor. Yeah. She does a lot of voices. I think if you're doing animated, I think she would do a good voice for Billy.
Now, if we're going animated, I think that opens everything wide up.
Yeah.
For Rolly Roll, I would want. I know Rolly Roll looks a little. What do you call it?
Who's Rolly Roll?
Lighthearted. Rolly Roll is one of the unlockable characters, one of Billy's friends.
Is that
you save her from being blown up in the pirate stage.
The chick.
But I would have Christina Ricci voice her.
Ah, okay.
All right.
Well, then in that case, let's get Devin Sawa as Billy.
As Billy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he could work. Who would play Dark Raven, the King of the Crows? Our main antagonist. Who would be our main villain?
Danny DeVito. He's played a penguin.
Yeah, Danny DeVito's kind of right where I go too.
I was yeah, that's a good one. We'll go with Danny.
That I think also like Lance Reddick has that kind of really good voice for that.
It's Reddick. I'm familiar. Or it sounds
from
familiar.
The Wire. He has the voice of Zavala in Destiny. So I think like Zavala has that kind of, you know what I mean? It's like he's very smart, but he's still evil. I think there's that kind of thing to it. Yeah.
Who are the other characters? I know there's the elders, but I don't know them by name. And there was like 6.
Yeah,
different...
I don't either. I think for the 6 elders or 7, however many elder chickens there are, I think you would have to do like, honestly, like the sad reality is that would probably end up just going to like whatever the current cast of SNL is, right? Like, because someone's agent would know the casting director, and then that would be like, okay, well, we can get all of these people to do this.
If this was live action, I think this is where you take the budget cut and like you just kind of have them as like Star Wars, like that blue outline as they talk digitally and they're not in front of each other. I feel like you can do something like that where you can still not hire an actual actor and then just get Troy Baker and Nolan North to voice all 6 of them.
Yeah, that. Now we're getting to the sad reality of things. But yeah, it's probably. Yeah.
I think like for the little animal assists that you can get, the little companions, if we were to give them voices, I would want is the penguin's name just like Pin or something like that?
Isn't it like Richter? Or Richie?
Richie's the seal.
Okay.
The penguin is... Sorry, I'm pulling it up.
I thought it was something like Pin.
Maybe that's why I didn't like the game, because I never got invested in any of the characters.
It is Clippin.
Okay. Kinda close. Kinda. I'm picturing like Ben Schwartz voicing Clippin.
Oh, yeah. I could see that. Yeah, you'd want that where... Yeah, you'd want that voice recognition where it's like, is that the Sonic guy? Yeah, that's pretty good.
And he's just like, check this out, and just headbutts a wall or something.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
That'd be a good tie-in to lead people along for the sequel of Billy Hatchet and Giant Egg, too. Just get that Sonic recognition, because, the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, instead of Danny DeVito for like a villain, I think Roger Craig Smith would be a nice touch as well.
Oh, yeah. Not a bad approach. Kind of bring it all together in one, yeah.
Yeah, he's got some range.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot he was Batman in Arkham Origins. I was like, oh.
Yeah. He's good.
Oh, okay. All right. Now I see his credits.
Yeah, he's the most current Sonic.
He was Ezio, too.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to move into our final segment of the week. We're going to do a roundtable question. Or a question of the week, if you will. I had a dream the other night that I was watching a Nintendo Direct, and I woke up, and in the dream, I remember the Nintendo Direct was happening, I was watching it, and it just felt natural. It felt like, yes, of course this is something that's happening right now, that there's a Nintendo Direct, and I'm watching it, and all these things are happening, and we were all texting and excited about it, and I woke up, and then it took me about an hour and a half, 2 hours after waking up to remember that did not happen. But in case the listeners were worried that we'd changed too much for Season 10, let's keep things nice and normal by asking you, in the inevitable Nintendo Direct that is coming up very shortly, I'm sure, what game do you hope to see at a Nintendo Direct?
Just
any game. What do you like when you're sitting here right now, game already announced or unannounced? Are you like, the day that we see the big red banner with a date attached to it, what game are you immediately going to go, oh my gosh, I hope I see this?
Well, shown, I think it's Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
I
don't think. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Probably something Star Fox. Like, actually, you know what? No, I'll take that back. Luigi's Mansion 4.
Luigi returning.
This one. So Kojima tweeted this week that he tweeted just a picture of a folder on his desktop with the written in kanji the phrase "new project" below it. So I don't know. We know Kojima's working on stuff, and he's got a couple different things. I feel like, what if we saw a smaller experience from Kojima Productions, but it's a Kojima-developed Switch exclusive game? We've obviously heard a lot about not a lot, but we've heard from the back. There's some rumors, some scuttle that there's an Xbox exclusive deal in the works with Kojima Studios. So what if there's a Switch one as well? What if he had the idea, right? I feel like I just read through a whole thing like about his approach to development and looking at technology in different ways. And what if he's finally looked at the Switch and said, this is what I would do if I were making a game for that platform type, right? Something where like you have to dock it and undock it. Like there's weird, stupid stuff like that. I feel like, I don't know, there could be something interesting there.
Yeah, like I feel like if anyone, Kojima would have been the one to make like something work super well with Nintendo Labo.
Yeah.
I feel like he would have made it like very tolerable and cool and sought after.
Yes. So, Mark, you said Luigi's Mansion 4. Matt, you said Metroid Prime 4. From the dream games that you would love to see, which characters would appear in the Fruit Snack tie-in found at your local grocer's freezer?
Ooh,
so wait,
like
characters just all time or attached to the property I just said?
For when they come out with Metroid Prime 4 gummies,
okay. All right.
which characters, which flavors, which characters are in the bag? Oh, Mark, you got an easy one.
Yeah, I know, I do. Like a Luigi is obviously going to be a clear green. You know, regular Luigi will be a solid green.
Yeah.
The Polterpup. I'm not sure if that's the actual name, but I'm thinking the dog will be like, for some reason I know it's a ghost, but I wanted to like make him like a solid light blue. I don't know why. Just looks enticing to me.
Yeah, there's like a spectral quality to the light blue.
And then like, the original goats that you would hunt for, they have their colors and they're all like transparent, whatever. Not really picky on flavors, I guess, but like the pup would be something mixed berry or blueberry-ish. Luigi would probably be, you know what? I'm going to give Luigi like some type of pina colada flavor just because. Luigi's going to be, yeah, like Luigi, I feel like green apple's too easy.
I'm sorry.
We don't talk about.
So
Luigi.
So Luigi's going to be like Lugu is going to be a like. Oh man, like I want
Kiwi.
that one to be. I want that one to be like sour, like a warhead.
Oh, you've got a wild fruit snack bag going on here. This is good. Yeah.
And then the ghost can be like orange, grape, lemon, whatever, cherry.
Yeah. That one I can picture. Matt, can you build a Metroid bag for me?
Here we go. Samus.
Yep.
In the classic 2D pose. Orange.
Yep. Boom. Got it.
Dark Samus. In the classic Samus pose.
All right.
Let's
Purple?
go black. Let's go let's give it exotic, like a blackberry.
Okay.
Ridley. Purple. Great. And then your Metroid, which it could be I've seen mostly like bluish green with a little bit of red. Let's make it blueberry.
Oh, okay, all right.
Then we need a red, and I think that's where Mother Brain comes in. That's a nice
Okay.
cherry.
I like a cherry Mother Brain. You could also do the.
I was also thinking about doing all the different color costumes because we don't know the fours. We could view all the fours.
It's true.
I thought you
But
were.
you could
gonna say-
also cheat pretty easily with Metroid, because one of the gummies could be like a missile. One of them could be the screw attack S. You know what I mean? Like you could do one of those types of things.
I want to promote the characters though. We want to build a world.
All right.
We'll build a world.
So we
4
just have a
games
bag
later,
of,
we will build a world.
It's just a bag of the number 4. Just a bunch of 4s in a bag, different colors.
Right.
So
You can also do something dumb, like, it's always like pirates, right, that you're taking down, but just have an eye patch, have it totally unrelated, like, you told well
Yeah,
today
not
to be
an
a
actual-
pirate.
Pretty good.
Buying a 20-pack gives you 200 gold coins or something.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Now you're talking.
Oh. Or double XP for the multiplayer. That'd be really cool, this game.
Final question, I guess. So, Mark,
Well,
I
wait,
would like you to
hold
name...
on, what's your Hideo Kojima Mystery of Nightmares? You have
Oh,
the
man,
entire
I don't even
library
know.
one.
I don't know. I think that he would make... It would be...
It's too wide open.
Yeah, it's too vague at this point. You'd get some Switch peripherals, maybe. I think you would get maybe one would just be his face. Another would be his glasses. Another would be his Sony Xperia Play $1,700 MP3 player that he uses. And then...
Gotta have a Ludens head in there, too.
Oh, yeah, you'd have the Kojima Productions logo thing. Yeah, very good. It would just be Kojima themed. It wouldn't even have anything to do with the game.
Would a Jeff Keighley face appear?
It would be kind of like, as if you work at a Toys R Us or something and you order like a case of action figures, you usually get the one in a box, the 1/12 variant. I think it'd be that where like there'd be a case that would have one bag every now and then, but like, that's the thing. If you get it, you take a picture of it, see, but then that leads to fraudulent behavior. I don't want to promote any of it. Who knows, right? But like, we want to send the kids a sticker if they find Keeley. So, yeah, one in every 100th bag.
Perfect.
You send it in with 2 UPC labels, we'll send you a sticker of Kojima's face. Lastly, Mark, name an indie developer. Any indie developer. First one that came to mind.
Well, first one came to mind was a publisher, so I gotta...
All right.
I was about to say Devolver, and I was like, nope, that's not how it works. Let's go with Way Forward.
All right, Way Forward. Matt, I would like you to name a non-first party developer.
Non-first party developer.
Any studio, just not
Yeah,
something
I know.
necessarily. Yeah.
I'm struggling. Beanox. We just talked about them.
All right. I would like you guys to take a look at the Black Box NES games. So this is... I'll read them out for the listeners. I'd like you to take a look at them. I want you to pick 2 of them and tell me that during this Nintendo Direct, how is it revealed that the teams you've just named are going to recreate these for a modern audience? So these are 10-Yard Fight. Sorry, it's too small for me to see. Donkey Kong Jr. Math, Golf, Duck Hunt, Balloon Fight, Clue Clue Land, Stack Up, Gyromite, Wild Gunman, Kung Fu, Tennis, Mock Rider, Pro Wrestling, Hogan's Alley, Gumshoe, Ice Climber, Slalom, Mario Brothers, Excite Bike, Soccer, Popeye, Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, sorry, Baseball, Donkey Kong Jr., Volleyball, Urban Champion, Donkey Kong 3, Wrecking Crew, Pinball, or Donkey Kong. So 2 of these are coming back for the Switch as part of this Nintendo Direct. One will be developed by Way Forward. The other will be developed by Beanox.
Can we both have the same game?
Go for it. I love the idea, especially with Beanox in the question, of 2 different interpretations from different development teams.
Okay. I was going to say Mock Rider, but I think I went Way Forward to do Ice Climber.
Oh, yeah, dude. I've wanted a new Ice Climber for a
I think, like, the way that they handle platforming is so exceptionally well done. I would love to see that creativity done with an Ice Climber theme.
Would you keep it 2D and the same kind of idea of get to the top?
getting to the top doesn't always have to be the case. It's in there, but it's not every level. I think you can make this more grand, a little more adventurous. You know, you can go left to right if you want. Sometimes you might have to go down. Who knows? But I think just give them full creativity with it. Give it that treatment that they do with their games, and have a nice like cartoony animated art style with it.
Yeah, I think that would work. Jake Kaufman soundtrack as well.
Yeah.
Matt, what game you landing on?
I just realized there's a Donkey Kong Jr. math. So obviously baseball, because they're gonna do Billy Hatcher and the world of platypus. No,
right.
So all right, we're gonna combine what B and Ox has worked on recently and what I can remember from that studio. Crash Team Racing remake or remaster, whatever they called it. Call of Duty, specifically, I think they're in Warzone. We're gonna take Slalom and we're gonna make it this gritty battle royale snow navigation where there's avalanches. You're slaloming with 100 other people, up to 200 depending on the mountain, and we're gonna, you got your pole as weapons, but you could also do some weird gunfire as you're skiing along. I think there is an aspect to it. I don't know how to incorporate necessarily like a race down the mountain.
Yeah.
But, like what happens when you get there, if you're the first to get there, that's, speedways are exposed like roads, so you don't want to necessarily be on them. And that's where you'll get picked off very easily from afar. But if you navigate through the woods, you're going to take your time. But it is ultimately a race to be first. But you also got to survive random occurrence like avalanches. It could be a forest fire. All weird things can happen in the world
as the
slalom.
As the first person passes through the finish line. Not and like they're checkpoint lines, right? But like to do your battle royale thing, right? Like the avalanche is always a threat, so you don't want to get caught by the avalanche as it's moving its way down. But as you're all moving down the mountain independently of one another and whatever, the first person that crosses through also trips something. So maybe that trips gasoline tanker that falls over and makes the fire spread. Maybe it causes some explosion up top that accelerates the speed of the avalanche rolling down behind you.
Not to, a couple of reasons here. Not to bring up Dota, because I have been playing that recently. But, I want lanes, though. I want you to be exposed and fast, but also at the same time you can be hidden and slow. So I don't want it to necessarily stay in the gates. I just kind of want the gates to be an option for triggers. But I do like that trigger idea as we go forth down this mountain to be first in this. Man, that'd be wild. Just this mountain with 100 skiers. You just shooting at each other. Man, that's a cool game. Maybe I want that
video
in the
game
next
ideas out
direct.
Here.
I guess always welcome to expand the Ice Climber universe. So I like this.
It kind of worked. Yeah, look at this.
Oh, that's your DLC. Ice Climber skins.
Yeah.
Chucking hammers.
I would love it. I just think we're in an era where Nintendo needs that new kind of thing. I think that we're going to see a lot of weird stuff.
Battle Royale needs that new thing.
Yeah. They just, I don't know, like, let's go back but go forward and do something that Nintendo's got a lot of history behind it, obviously, that, yet to be explored. We'll see. Time will tell. Maybe this week. Maybe the direct happens soon. When was the 2021 one? I don't know.
Ooh.
February? March? It was late.
Yeah. I thought you said the last one in general. Wasn't the last one in general, though, like Splatoon 4?
Splatoon 3.
3.
Yeah. It was somewhere in the fall, I think. That was like the last big one. So we're going to close out the episode. I mean, obviously, we would typically rank our game of the week, which we'll actually do that next week with the game. But for now, Billy Hatcher remains uncontested. We'll see if Billy Hatcher can stay at the top or if it will drop to the bottom next week as we talk about Devil's Crush. We're announcing the game here in case you'd like to play it sometime this week ahead of next week's episode. It's tough to find. It was on Wii's Virtual Console. It is on the Wii U eShop, so if you still have that hanging around, obviously you do jump to it. But it was TurboGrafx, also on Sega Genesis. It's out there in ways, but yeah, we'll be talking Devil's Crush next week as our second game for Season 10. So come back and check that out. If you've made it this far, it means you like hanging out with us, and we're grateful for that, and we're grateful for you hanging out. We'd like to hear from you. podcast@thefreecheese.com is an email address. Of course, we want to hear feedback. What do you think of the new format? What do you think of the new flow? What would you like to see more of? What would you like to hear less of? If you have any recommendations for our topics or one of our roundtable questions, something like that. Maybe you have a trivia question for me to slip into the trivia dungeon to try and stump Matt or Mark. Send that in, podcast@thefreecheese.com.
Or that, because we're announcing the game a week early, if you want to kind of play along and send in your thoughts.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, we would love to read listener thoughts. If you've played Devil's Crush, if you want to talk about it, what's your overall impression, your takeaway of it? Along with each post, so if you're listening to this and you haven't been to thefreecheese.com, we've upgraded thefreecheese.com, or rather overhauled it. So the front page is going to be a little bit different now. We're going to kind of keep track of our main episodes throughout this whole season. And as time moves on, the front page will get a little bit more archival, so to speak. So right now you'll just see Billy Hatcher up there. But as we go on, you'll see kind of broken out by January, February, March, etc. Each of our little batches of games that we go through, we'll kind of archive it for quick, easy access. Yeah, I think that's everything, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The website will have little blog reviews. Thank you.
We
kind of talked about it, but if you want the score at the end of the article, we have those there as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're each gonna have kind of our quick, short recap version of what our review would be for each game. And then the main list itself, when that gets posted, it should be thefreecheese.com/the-list, if I did it correctly, but stay tuned. There'll be a big fat button on the main page that you'll be able to click on and check out the list itself. But that, as we build the list, we'll also kind of call out what our scores were, and we'll link back to the main page. So everything will kind of work and flow together and everything. But that was Billy Hatcher. I had a fun time with Billy Hatcher. I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone thinks of Devil's Crush next week. Until then, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. Goodbye. Or good morning.